Dan Ives just dropped some serious perspective on where we're actually heading in this AI cycle. He's been traveling the world, talking to customers, and is seeing something Wall Street is completely missing. Check this out.
To me, it was almost like it was there in terms of the technology, and it was just starting to play out. But it wasn't really till NVIDIA's quarter call, like in that May, a few months later, where everyone's like, oh my God, it's here. And then that really started. But look, the whole time, you're always like fighting, some of the sentiment in terms like bubble, like late night, like whether it's like macro driven. And to me, it's like, look, 3 million air miles the last 25 years. By going around the world, you have like a different perspective than I think the average person, because you see it. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, that is an advantage. And I always say, like, the bears, when they're sitting in their caves, they can't see AI in the spreadsheets because you see the we talk to customers, we see, and look, we've said, like, this AI party started at 9 p.m. and it was going to 4 a.m. It's now 10:30 p.m. So we're still early in the night. Now, look, will there be times like glass falls on the dance floor, cops come, DJ stops playing music? Of course. But the bears, they're looking at the nightclub from the outside through the windows saying like, it doesn't even look that fun in there. I'm just going to go upstairs, read a book to the hotel. At 6 a.m. when the bulls and bears meet, bulls had a lot better night than the bears.
So you've been covering tech stocks since the late 90s. Let's talk about just a technology innovation cycle in general, right? You get early adopters. There's sort of a curve to these things. Generally speaking, I'm sure you've heard of the technology hype cycle. So generally speaking, you have this like big run up and you get to too much euphoria. Everybody's too excited. And then you have this like trough of disillusionment. Everybody falls off. And at some point later in the game, it settles out to a more rational level. So if we're thinking about AI on that technology hype cycle, have we gotten to that first big peak yet even?
I actually think we're here.
We're just turning up.
Because it's my view, like, your kid is not going to need a license because of autonomous. I believe like 20% of vehicles are going to be autonomous. I believe 1 of every 12 to 15 households is going to have a humanoid robot as we go into like 2029, 2030. So my view is that, okay, when we talk about like spending CapEx, tech cycle, where we are, will it moderate in 26? And so only 3% of enterprises in the US have gone down the AI path. If you look just at valuation over the next year, you've missed every transformational growth stock the last 20 years. So it's just, you have to be able to see over the next like 3, 4, 5 years where it is. And it's my view, like especially now, like Fed cut cycle, money on the sidelines, I view it as like a bright green light for tech. And look, I say like, I'd rather be owning tech in the left lane in a Ferrari going 100 miles an hour than be in value in a minivan, the right lane, with a beat up radio with a bumper sticker saying my kid was an honor student in 3rd grade.
But it's so retro.
It could be retro.
Sometimes retro's cool. No?
I'm all for retro.
Yeah.
But it's like, to me, it's like, given this 4th industrial revolution, given the trillions that are going to be spent, it's second inning of this 9-inning game in terms of as this plays out.
Yeah. I've said before, I think on TV, you don't buy a Porsche to drive at 5 under the speed limit, right? So your analogy of a Ferrari going 100, maybe a little more aggressive than what I usually talk about. But if you're going to do it, do it. Something that, and I am still confused about this, so educate all of us. There are a lot of different types of AI. There's the universe of AI. Usually we're talking about generative AI, at least lately, right? We're talking about generating photos, generating videos, generating text from prompts. You're putting a prompt in, AI spits something back out at you. That's, I think, the most mainstream use case right now. There's machine learning, right? There's all this different stuff. There's agentic AI that's up and coming. What's next? Where are we in the generative life cycle? Help us make sense of that.
So the first thing about it, like, consumer AI won't truly actually happen till 26 and 27.
Okay.
Right now, all we're really talking about is enterprises. When you think about now what's happening between NVIDIA, with obviously the hyperscalers, with the actual software solutions, that data is being mined in a way companies have never been able to access. At speed, it's taken something that could take 40 weeks, it takes them 2 hours.
Yeah.
So whether it's insurance companies, financial services, marketing, I mean, I'm talking to companies that have spent 5-10 million on AI initiatives. They think it's gotten back within a month, the ROI.
Wow.
So on the enterprise, it's actually happening full speed. For the consumer, they look and like, oh, ChatGPT, I haven't really seen it. You know what I mean? It's a perplexity I'm dealing with.
Right.
Because guess what? Like, there's hundreds of apps that are going to be on the App Store. They're not there yet. The actual opportunity is less in the models, like the LLMs. It's really more data centric. That's why, like, look, that's why Oracle goes from a $70 stock to $300, because Oracle has the stack. So you think about all these install bases, now they monetize. But I don't think factored into a lot of these stocks is like, I think a lot of numbers for the next few years, like in tech, I think tech stocks, they're probably being underestimated by 20-25% in terms of earnings power.
Okay.
Then you could even look at, let's say, a name like Apple. They're doing nothing in AI. It's a treadmill. Every event's been a Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox. If, given their install base, if they now team up with Google, which I believe they're going to do from a Gemini perspective, you start tapping into install base now, you start talking about the re-rating and the monetization for Apple, it's the game changer.
Only 3% of US companies have started using AI, which means we must be incredibly early. Dan talks about how businesses right now are spending $5 to $10 million on AI projects and getting their investments back within a month. Dan describes companies mining their data in ways they've never been able to do before. The speed difference here is insane. Tasks that used to take 40 weeks now takes 2 hours. Dan says he's seeing deployment across insurance, financial services, and marketing firms. And now these aren't test projects anymore. Companies are running full AI initiatives with actual ROI numbers they can measure and track. Dan also emphasizes the gap between what enterprises are doing versus what customers see. Right now, all the action is happening on the enterprise side. Consumer AI won't truly happen until 2026 and 2027. People look at ChatGPT or Perplexity and wonder where all the hype is coming from. They haven't yet seen the hundreds of apps which will eventually hit the App Store. The real transformation is happening inside businesses right now, where data gets processed at speeds that seemed impossible just a year or two ago. When you can cut work time from almost a year down to an afternoon, you're looking at a complete transformation of how business operates. Think about what happens to productivity and profits when analysis that took weeks can now be done in a fraction of the time. The competitive advantage becomes undeniable. Any businesses watching their competitors get month-long ROI on AI investments will be forced to launch their own initiatives immediately. If only 3 out of 100 companies have even started going down the AI path, imagine what happens when the other 97 jump in over the next 2 decades. And from that perspective, it looks like the spending wave hasn't even begun yet. Every company that sees their competitors get results in a month is going to rush to catch up. The compounding effect accelerates adoption across entire industries. Insurance companies that can process claims in hours instead of weeks will force every other insurance company to adopt or die. Financial services firms that can analyze risk in minutes instead of months will dominate their slower competitors. And here's the thing Wall Street is missing about this enterprise adoption. Dan believes tech earnings are being underestimated by up to 25% because Wall Street isn't pricing in AI revenue yet. Dan points to Oracle as the perfect example. The stock went from 70 to $300 because they have the complete technology stack that enterprises need. He argues that the real opportunity isn't in the AI models themselves. The money is in the data-centric companies that already have massive customer bases. For example, Apple teaming up with Google for Gemini integration. And as we all know, every Apple event has been disappointing recently. But when they tap into their install base with real AI features, the monetization potential completely changes. Dan says tech earnings for the next few years are probably being underestimated by 20 to 25% because analysts aren't factoring in these new revenue streams yet. Companies with large install bases will monetize AI capabilities in ways that current forecasts are completely missing. Oracle built an entire AI stack that lets them offer new services to every existing customer. The revenue multiplies because you're not just selling to new customers, you're selling new capabilities to customers you already have relationships with. The market is looking at these companies like they're the same old businesses running the same old playbook. Analysts build their models based on historical growth rates and past performance. When you add AI capabilities to millions or billions of existing customers, you're not just improving products incrementally, you're creating entirely new revenue streams that didn't exist in the business model before. The spreadsheet analysts sitting in their offices can't see this shift happening in real time with actual customers paying real money. They're modeling based on what those companies did last year and the year before. They miss the inflection point where AI turns into a completely new business line. Every existing Oracle customer becomes a potential AI customer without Oracle needing to spend money acquiring new accounts. The unit economics changes completely. Same dynamics apply to Apple. Their install base spans hundreds of millions of devices worldwide. Even small AI features that drive subscription revenue or new services multiply across that massive footprint. A feature that generates $5 per user per year suddenly becomes billions in annual revenue when you have that scale. The math changes completely when you go from selling one-time products to selling ongoing AI-enhanced services. If you found this video of any value, why not consider hitting subscribe? Cheers.